Hello and welcome to another HistorySpeak.com podcast. This episode is titled The Mysterious Death of Superman. Now more than 60 years after the death of George Reeves, the most famous actor who has ever played the Superman role, there's a lot more questions than answers surrounding the circumstances of his untimely death. George Reeves was born George Keefer Brewer on January 5, 1914 in Woolstock, Iowa. He was an American actor best known for his role as Superman, a.k.a. Clark Kent, in the television series Adventures of Superman, which aired from 1952 to 1958. While Reeves was in high school, he began acting and singing and continued with stage performances while a student at Pasadena Junior College. While studying acting at the Pasadena Playhouse, Reeves met his future wife, Eleanora Needles. She's the great-great-granddaughter of John Robinson, who had been a circus magnate and founder of the John Robinson Circus. They married on September 22, 1940, in San Gabriel, California. They wound up divorcing 10 years later and had no children. In 1939, Reeves began a professional film career as he was cast in a minor role as Stuart Tarlington, incorrectly listed in the film's credits as Brent Tarlington, one of Scarlett O'Hara's suitors in the timeless classic film Gone with the Wind. After he completed his role in Gone with the Wind, he returned to the Pasadena Playhouse, where he landed the lead role in a play called Pancho. His part in this play led him to be contracted at Warner Brothers. Executives at Warner Brothers had him change his professional name to George Reeves. He starred in a number of films, including 2 with future President of the United States Ronald Reagan and 3 with James Cagney. His contract with Warner Brothers was dissolved by mutual consent. He then signed a contract with 20th Century Fox, but was released after only a handful of films. Reeves then did freelance work in westerns and appeared in 5 Hopalong Cassidy westerns before being cast as Lieutenant John Summers opposite Claudette Colbert in the 1942 film So Proudly We Hail, which was a war drama for Paramount Pictures, which he was then signed to appear in 2 films per year for them. He was drafted into the United States Army early in 1943, and he was assigned to the United States Army Air Forces and performed in the Broadway show Winged Victory. This long Broadway run was followed by a national tour and a movie version. Reeves was then transferred to the Army Air Force's 1st Motion Picture Unit, where he made training films. Discharged from the Army after World War II ended, Reeves returned to Hollywood, but acting jobs were scarce and were not paying well at the time, and he found himself reduced to appearing in low-budget films. He performed on live television programs as well as on radio, and then returned to film acting in 1951 for a role in a Fritz Lang film called Rancho Notorious. In 1953, Reeves played a minor character, Sergeant Mahlon Stark, in From Here to Eternity. The film wound up winning the Academy Award for the Best Picture and gave Reeves the distinction of having appeared in 2 Best Picture films. In June 1951, Reeves was offered the role of Superman in a new television series titled Adventures of Superman. He was initially reluctant to take on the role because, like many actors during this time, he considered television unimportant and career-limiting. The series went on the air the following year, and Reeves was amazed to find out that the show actually propelled him to national celebrity. In 1952, the struggling ABC network purchased the show for national broadcast, which gave Reeves greater national visibility and more stardom. After 2 seasons, Reeves decided not to renew his contract and left the show. He was frustrated with his low salary, the one-dimensional nature of his character, and how associating himself with Superman had ruined his credibility as a dramatic actor. At 40 years old, he also felt uncomfortable playing such an intensely physical role. The producers of Superman were unable to find a suitable replacement and lured him back to the show with a major salary increase. He was reportedly making $5,000, that's about $57,700 in 2006 dollars per week during the final 1958 season. Reeves had more options for making more movies, but most were playing Superman roles again, a role that he did not want to continue, especially now in his mid-40s. On June 16, 1959, Reeves died mysteriously of a gunshot wound to the head in the upstairs bedroom of his home in Los Angeles, California. Reeves's fiancée, Leonore Lemon, and other party guests were in the home at the time, and their stories about what happened were sketchy. A number of questionable physical findings were reported by investigators and others. No fingerprints were recovered from the gun. No gunpowder residue was found on Reeves's hand, and some sources argue that looking for gunpowder residue was not a routine test that was performed in 1959. The bullet that killed Reeves was recovered from the bedroom ceiling, and the spent shell casing was found under his nude body. 2 additional bullets were discovered embedded in Reeves's bedroom floor. All 3 bullets had been fired from the weapon found at Reeves's feet. However, all of the witnesses agreed they heard only 1 gunshot. There was no sign of forced entry or other physical evidence that anyone other than Reeves was in the room when he died. Despite several unanswered questions, Reeves's death was officially ruled a suicide based on witness statements, physical evidence at the scene, and the autopsy report. In several published news articles, his fiancée, Leonore Lemon, attributed Reeves's alleged suicide to depression caused by his failed career and his inability to find serious work other than the Superman roles. The report made by the Los Angeles Police Department states Reeves was depressed because he couldn't get the sort of acting parts he wanted. Newspapers and wire service reports quoted LAPD Sergeant V.A. Peterson as saying, "Miss Lemon blurted, 'He's probably going to go shoot himself.' A noise was heard upstairs. She continued, 'He's opening up a drawer to get the gun.' A shot was then heard. 'See there? I told you so.'" In 1960, Reeves was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Hollywood Boulevard for his contributions to the television industry. The controversy and mystery surrounding Reeves's death led his mother to think it was not correct to rule his death a suicide. She hired attorney Jerry Geisler to petition for a reinvestigation of the case as a possible homicide. Geisler requested a second autopsy, and the findings were very similar to the first, with the exception of a series of unexplained bruises of unknown origin around Reeves's head and body. A month later, having uncovered no hard evidence contradicting the official finding, Geisler announced that he was satisfied that a gunshot wound had been self-inflicted, and he withdrew from the case. Actors Alan Ladd and Gig Young were reportedly skeptical of the official determination of suicide, and others that knew Reeves claimed murder and accidental shooting as a possible cause of Reeves's death. Reeves's friend, American film and television actor Rory Calhoun, told a reporter, "No one in Hollywood believed the suicide story." Reeves's untimely and questionable cause of death persists to intrigue and baffle fans and curious and inquisitive people, and also mystery sleuths. George Reeves is buried at Mountain View Cemetery and Mausoleum in Altadena, California.